Full of Fire and Thorns, The Hardest Part of My Life So Far, by William Lozano. Chapter 2, On Death. Over the past year, I've begun to ponder death more and more, sometimes in thoughts of existentialism and innocent curiosity, sometimes in thoughts of the infinite future and the infinite past, looking for enlightenment in the impossible scale. Recently, however, they've all been sparked by thoughts of suicide. I won't sugarcoat it. Suicide is an ugly, tragic topic, but one that is all too real for millions every year. Often innocent souls that needed help and compassion but got none, or were too hurt to be able to accept it. Just about a year and a half ago, it took my uncle, a wonderful man who wanted nothing but to love his family, who wanted nothing but to avoid causing problems. So much so that he bottled up all of his guilt until that bottle finally cracked. What people often ignore is that by the time someone takes their own life, they've likely been dead in one sense or another for much longer than the day their heart stops beating. I fear I may have gone over that edge already. I fear that I'm in the process of the unstoppable fall, the perfect gravity. No weakness, no emotion, no prejudice, no bias. Just a downward force that we must all meet someday. I fear I'm beyond help. Much as I loved my uncle, much as I still do, I don't want to meet him again under these conditions. I don't want to meet my final existence in a state of pain. I've heard from suicide survivors that the moment you believe you're dying, you feel a freedom, a weight being lifted, the release of your shackles. You no longer have to carry your weights, even if it means never carrying anything else ever again. A sense of macabre relief, a sense of freedom by proxy of non-existence. How can something that doesn't exist be caged or bound by a prison that isn't real in time that can never have existed? In the infinite void, there is no possibility for pain. In the infinite void, there is no possibility for feeling. But then, why do I fear it so much? If I know that what awaits is nothing but nothingness, no pain and no pleasure to be ripped from me, why do I prefer the existence of suffering? Is it the facade of potential? Is it the possibility for more momentary distractions? Is love and happiness so valuable that I would give up the guarantee of escape from suffering? Perhaps it's cowardice. Perhaps it's the conditioning throughout my entire life that pain is bad and death is scary, and it's good to live. The constant reasoning against suicide being how others would feel, caring about them over myself. On paper, that approach makes sense. A person who has completely given up on themselves isn't vulnerable to being told to care for themselves, so at least make a last-ditch appeal to their care for others. That approach has worked on me, always. In the most corrupt turn of events, the pain people cause me is the same reason I apologize. Like getting shot and apologizing to the shooter for spending one of their bullets. But I believe I've talked too much about myself in this last chapter. I'm meant to be talking about death, not my own suicidal contemplations. I haven't even gotten to my reasons for contemplating it, really, but that could be a whole book in and of itself, and that's not the point right now. Now then, as I was supposed to give sooner, my thoughts on and theories of death. First, the facts. Death is final. Death is unfeeling. Death cannot truly be personified, and what lies beyond, really, is unknown. The Grim Reaper is one of the most prolific depictions of death ever, across many eras, across many cultures. Most often pictured as a dark, shadowy, ethereal robe covering a skeletal figure, holding a massive scythe. Not a scythe ornate with battle-ready modifications or iconography, just a simple farmer's scythe, the same one used for wheat and barley. That is how the Reaper sees our souls. Whatever god or power you believe in gave us life to let us experience the world. Fill our souls with memories throughout our lives, so that when the time comes, our souls can be harvested. Our experiences can teach the higher power or powers what they could not learn as immortal beings. The Reaper is not merciful. nor is he cruel. His depiction as a skeletal figure instead of one of his depiction as a skeletal figure instead of one of flesh and expressions is intentional and powerful. Bones cannot shift or change shape. The Reaper cannot smile, nor can he frown. He simply offers his hand to guide you to the end, or, if you fight it, offers you his blade to get it over with. But even this nigh-perfect depiction of death is not truly death. Giving death a body can mean that there is a specific entity or point in space that you can fight or run from. You can delay the inevitable if you're strong enough, fast enough, clever enough, rich enough. But this isn't the case. I believe that death is within all of us. In a contradictory way, a benign cancer laid silently within every cell and every thought. What scientists named the call of the void, random dark thoughts that we have no conscious control over, is a side effect of my proposition. These calls are often harmful, or at least rude, to yourself or the people around, or people and things around you. For instance, thinking about football and seeing a baby in the park may give you a call along the lines of, "That baby is about the size of a football, let's see how hard I can punt it." Almost as soon as we get these thoughts, the rational mind, quote unquote, slaps itself, almost saying, "Come on, that's awful, why would you think that?" If death is a benign cancer, as I said, then this is its release. Cells and viruses naturally want to multiply and dominate a given space. I propose that this is death's attempt at domination. As a person comes closer and closer to their end, whether they expect it or not, the body becomes less and less resistant to these urges. In the elderly, passing in their sleep may be their body giving out or giving in to death. In babies and young children, this may come as death developing too fast and overtaking the young, inexperienced cells. And the rest of us, perhaps emotional distress or trauma has a notable effect on our body chemistry, and death takes over. Suicide. Why do I bring this up? Honestly, I believe it's just a way for me to exert some sort of control over my mind and my own calls from the void. In a time when I feel little control over anything at all, perhaps giving myself a theory to mold and control according to my current urges is the best thing for me. I only find it unfortunate that my controlled thoughts are so dark, so tragic. Perhaps we've been on this topic too long. I can't imagine it's hard to see depression and thoughts of death throughout this entire reading. I think I just needed something or someone to say this to. Thank you, reader.